Good afternoon, everybody.
Good afternoon.
Good morning for those who just woke up like 2 hours ago.
You youngins. Okay, introductions. Jean-Luc, go ahead.
Hi, my name is Jean-Luc. I am a student at the University of Aruba, and I've had an interest in tech and games my entire life.
And today we have two special guests with us. Just so everybody knows, we all used to judo together, so we've fumbled and stumbled and thrown each other and choked each other, so we know each other very well. We have Brandon Wong. Brandon.
Hi.
Little introduction.
Yeah. As I think your introduction kind of hit it to home. We all kind of grew up with each other, grew up as kids.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'm living in the Netherlands myself, studying government organization and organizational sciences.
Nice.
And I'm kind of working for one of the tech companies based in Kentucky right now that we're going to talk about a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely.
Cool.
Yeah,
I'm
remember,
jealous.
we're just having a conversation, and we have with us today also a good friend of ours that's studying abroad. Yuri, tell a bit about yourself.
How's it going? Yeah, I'm also studying in Holland. I'm doing chemical engineering at Hogeschool Saxion. It's it's a nice place, and there's a lot of things that involve tech, with mixed with chemistry as well. So
Yeah, I think that's so. I'll jump in there. Hi, everybody. Bruce here, multimedia engineer, interested in Cardano and Cardano advocate and all things technology, and especially how it impacts our lives. So yeah, so we were at a party last week, at your dad's
it
birthday
was a
party.
little
Amazing barbecue. Yeah.
Yeah, we had amazing barbecue, and we were reminiscing our days of wrestling and sweating, and we started talking about some technology tidbits. We were also following Cardano and some cryptocurrency spaces and whatnot, and it was interesting to see because I'm in my 40s,
Yeah.
right, 44, and you guys are all about
I'm
In our
right
20s.
past 20.
Yeah.
And everybody's studying. And I thought it was interesting to bring you guys to the show because it's also interesting to see what you guys think about your future and where do you see yourself going. So, me and Brandon were kind of sharing ideas, right? And you told us this amazing, cool story because your dad was complaining that you're behind the computer a lot, right? But everybody is, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and he told me specifically that you're also working behind the computers. Can you tell a little bit what's going on?
I basically at the start of COVID, I was sort of at an impasse that I was looking for something to spend my time doing because I was a lot at home, just studying and not doing much.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And you kind of get bored. You get kind of just in your own mind, and you look for things to do.
Right.
Sure.
Right. Sure.
I started creating my own community from because I like playing Minecraft since I was.
There you go.
since
That's
I
a very
was-
popular game, right?
Yes.
Yeah, since I was a little kid, I've been messing around with ports and messing around with my parents' routers since I was 8 years old. Making my own little servers for friends of mine to play on.
Right.
And
Local
it's-
servers.
Exactly.
Hamachi.
Yeah, Hamachi,
yeah,
port
yeah.
forwarding. You name it. I've tried it, and I finally had like the kind of the money to make my own game server based with these massive companies that are making a name for themselves now.
Right. Right.
And I started my community based on an idea I had. Basically, fast forwarding a little bit from there, it came to a point where it was 300 people strong, and I got a decent, and I had more projects coming that people were just getting noticed by us,
Mm-hmm.
and we had a good stable community that people paid us mind, and basically from there I got into contact with a friend of mine that put me through to the company I work for now,
Right.
which is called Dedicated MC.
Dedicated MC. Okay.
And these guys were basically one of the first companies that I actually felt like they had the interest of the consumer in mind.
Right, right.
So
So basically, gamers, right? So
a company made by gamers for gamers.
exactly,
Pretty
exactly.
cool, pretty
Yeah,
cool.
yeah.
Isn't that Republic Gamers catchphrase?
I mean, you know, it's you say what you want, but it really is truly like you stand in awe sometimes when you truly see a company stand behind an ideal like that, because
Cool.
it's not you don't see it very often.
No.
Right, right, right.
But this, I fell in love with what they offered, because they genuinely seemed like a group of guys that represented what I always thought was the idea behind gaming.
Right. So,
Mm.
but if we track back a little bit, since you love Minecraft so much, isn't Minecraft sort of open source?
It definitely is.
Right.
Minecraft has gotten to the point where anybody can kind of make their own game mode, their own kind of
Oh, yeah.
sandbox.
Yes.
Right.
That
Yes.
it almost stands apart from what the base game is, but it stays true to the recipe that everybody loves. And I'm a guy. I grew up playing these old ways of doing Minecraft. Like I love these methods of creating my own tiny governments and stuff like that.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And then
Oh, really? So you're applying your study down in this, and
I created this town experience that people could make their own little towns, and
You made a
Cool.
townie server?
wow.
and I
that's
create
pretty cool.
and it was my own little way of making an idea of my own.
Right.
And I co-created it with a friend of mine that's now in the UK, and we just developed this idea over a year and a half time now, because we started it at the beginning of COVID, and we didn't think it was gonna go anywhere, but we wanted to at least try,
Right. So in your community, people are coming together on that creation on the Minecraft platform, right? And that's what's keeping it together. So if you have a town in Minecraft, and you guys all are players, right?
Oh,
I
yeah.
mean, I have my little autistic son Ethan, and he just defeated the black dragon. What was
The
that? What's that?
Ender Dragon.
The ten. Yeah, he just finished. He's 7. And and I went to look for it, and it's considered the final boss,
One of the final
pretty
bosses,
much, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so you guys all are. I mean, you've clocked amazing hours, thousands of hours on Minecraft.
I've clocked thousands of hours on Minecraft.
sure.
Oh, there you go,
Yeah.
there you go. So, but let's move into the subject matter a little bit. So, how do you see yourself? I mean, are you? This is sort of a side career, you could say, or you're experimenting?
I think the best way to classify it is, I think I'm broadening my horizons a bit.
Right.
I'm someone that I've been kind of I like creating things.
Right.
I like creating things for people, and I like making people's lives a bit better throughout the days. And I always saw that idea as creating a place for people to kind of come together and just enjoy the game as it's meant to be played.
Of course.
In my
Wow.
eyes.
That's a great masthead for whatever organization that's into online communities.
You
right?
know, speaking of how crazy Minecraft servers can get, the most famous game modes that I'm currently aware of is basically these servers where you just go and play mini games,
Oh yeah.
different
Right.
mini games, and
The Hypixel network.
Hypixel. Yeah. I
And
remember when they
it's
were
crazy.
new.
And it like you go into these servers, you go into these mini games, and there's so many functions integrated into just your own what is it, GUI. So like in your crafting table.
You don't need
Yeah. Graphic
Yeah.
user interface. Yeah,
You don't
agree.
need to download anything.
No, you
it
just
is
show up
done
and-
for yourself
Yeah,
the
you
moment
just-
you join the server.
You just
Yeah.
show up and you just click a couple things, and then boom, you're in a mini game.
And what's amazing about it is that it's created by the administrator
By
of
the community.
that community, right?
Yeah.
So there's a whole team of people creating that experience through utility and programming and the interface.
Yeah.
And so do you think that Minecraft is a great place for learning skill sets like that you could bring on to other types of projects and other platforms?
I definitely think so. Like, a lot of young kids younger than me right now, are these guys making plugins,
Wow.
which are you know, kind of these add-ons that the modifications to servers that you can make.
Right.
People don't have to make extra installations for it. It just comes natively in the base game.
Right, right. It just gets loaded.
Exactly. It just gets loaded in the main map, and it changes some aspect of the game, but it's all based upon the vanilla recipe.
Yeah.
Right.
But it's all customized to make it sort of this own thing, and that I've seen kids 16, 17 years old make these amazing ways to make extra bosses that you know
Cool.
that the Mojang developers take a year to add
Yes.
into the main updates, but that you can make yourself within a couple of minutes with their own interfaces, you know.
With
Cool.
me personally, it is via Minecraft that I became familiar with working with my OS and my computer system. So looking for files, being able to detect viruses, being able to
Nice.
find, working with GitHub and everything.
Yeah.
Becoming familiar with working with how to work with my computer was via Minecraft.
Nice.
And interestingly, I've started working with the Raspberry a little bit, and I downloaded this book. I bought it from raspberrytips.com, and I actually downloaded it and I printed it out, and it's a massive, huge book with practical lessons, you could say, and projects. And interestingly, Minecraft is also part of it. So a lot of foundations right now, and if you didn't know, Raspberry Foundation is the producer of this piece of equipment. It's an educational tool, and they actually have lessons available, and they use Minecraft as a sort of a base to get people familiar with server activity and the prompt terminal, right, and do hard coding, right? So I'm happy, but like my son just made his own sandbox.
Wow.
Oh wow!
Oh yeah, because the neighbor showed him how to create stuff, so he's creating his own, but it's all visual for him right now, so he's not really programming anything.
Amazing.
But
It's a start. It's a start.
let's go around the table a little bit, and we're going to come back to all this stuff again, because we got more to talk about, specifically what you're doing behind the computer, which I kind of want to cover. But yeah, Yuri, so we were talking about that too, and in our opinion, technology doesn't always have to light up on a computer screen, you know. Technology is many things. So how's it going there with what are you doing? So I understand you're doing chemical engineering.
Yeah, I'm doing chemical engineering, and there's a couple of really fun things I've been doing recently. Because of the first year, we don't really get to go deep into too much, but we do have to do a lot of our own research.
Right.
One thing that we did that was pretty fun was making moonshine. We made moonshine out of toilet paper.
What?
Yeah, we made. Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
So
I've seen that. I've seen
there's
that.
compounds in there that.
No, what happened? The thing is that toilet paper is made out of cellulose. Cellulose is a type of matter you find like trees and all things, and like papers and all that. And it's mostly that. And if you break it down with an enzyme, you get a bunch of sugars.
Right.
If you take those sugars, you can ferment them and get alcohol. So we were able to do that process, break down the sugars, ferment it, and then we got like alcohol.
Nice.
But back to the subject matter of technology, a lot of these readings and the results that we're getting would not have been possible if it wasn't for the tech we were exposed to, because we have things in the lab like an infrared spectrometry or infrared spectrophotometer.
Infra something.
It uses infrared light and UV light to bombard or go through a sample, and then the light that passes through the sample gets detected, and then it gets poured through a formula that gets put into a graph, and that's what we read. Now, it'll be very difficult to try and determine how much alcohol is in your sample accurately without these types of machines. I mean, you can distill it. That's going to take half a day. You could do a bunch of other things, but like technology makes these things so much easier and so much faster as well. Another thing is like I read an article a while ago about hydrogen,
Mhm.
where these these lab guys they managed to compress and heat a bead of liquid hydrogen between two diamonds. They call it a diamond anvil.
Right.
Compress it really hard to the point where the structure of the liquid hydrogen turned solid. So they were able to make
By sheer pressure.
by sheer pressure and temperature.
But
So,
not cold, but by heat.
by heat.
Wow.
So they managed to compress it into a solid bead of like hydrogen, and if they can, I don't know, make a different process where when they release the anvil, the diamond anvil, that it stays solid for a long period of time, then you could use these things for batteries, for example.
For
Because,
fuel.
right, yeah, because if you look at the periodic table,
Yeah, hydrogen is one.
hydrogen is one, and right below it is like sodium and lithium and all those things.
Right.
And batteries work off of like the difference in
Polarity.
not polarity, but electron.
Electron,
negativ-
neutron, nucleus,
yeah,
proton.
electron negativity. So the
Electronegativity.
yeah, so
Okay.
so
Yeah.
it's like a short explanation of how batteries work. So you get like lithium, for example, and you have
Phosphate.
so you have lithium and you have like copper metal.
Right.
And
yeah.
the difference in electron negativity is great. So with
You get a charge.
You get a charge.
Right.
And now if you add hydrogen, which is one step above lithium, you
Right.
can have a higher charge. So
Yeah. Yeah.
but of course with these great things also come potential dangers. So you have to be careful. But
It
I
could
don't
be
know.
volatile.
It
It's
could
like
be
glycerine,
volatile.
right? So it
Yeah.
sweats out of dynamite, and
Yeah.
but I see it already because if you think about it, where we're moving in the world, right? So, I mean, we're having a heat wave right now. The climate crisis
Ooh.
is absolutely very real.
Holland is
okay?
crazy.
There's
Brennan knows
there's
about
$2
it.
billion coming from France for people to engineer things in sustainability, energy, renewable energy, and also the effects of the climate for marine biology, right? So we could come up with a plan and we can pitch for that kind of cash
Oh,
if we can
forgot
make a
to say
difference.
that. I
Yeah.
forgot to mention the whole reason why we made toilet paper moonshine to begin with. It was actually to try and find a way to cut down costs or waste, because toilet paper, you can use it for other types of paper or like things that have cellulose in it,
Right.
like cardboard or whatever waste
Oh.
material. So you can take that waste material and instead of burning it, which will be horrible,
Yeah,
you can take it, process it, and then you get usable resources out of it.
yeah, that's great. See, and that's also part of technology. We have to engineer things and be smarter, but having the knowledge to do that is important.
Of course.
And going back to your battery, the battery potential the potential application of
Yeah.
compressed hydrogen to
Yeah.
use in batteries, I think that's a must, because they have to create somehow flying planes
Yeah.
that are going to run on batteries somehow. That has to happen.
Elon's brain's gonna explode if he thinks about that.
Yeah. But somebody told me yesterday they're working on a battery-powered Formula One.
Oh.
Yeah,
You're gonna need some.
you're gonna.
It has to be lightweight and it has to be strong. Like hydrogen. Hydrogen is like the
There you
lightest
go.
element there
That's
is.
why I'm trying to connect that, because 10 years ago you could buy a kit that you can take your engine out of your S10 and make it a battery-powered car, right?
Oh.
That's possible because these batteries, what they can do is they can decharge really fast, and nothing will happen. So right now the best battery on the planet is the lithium phosphate battery, right?
Yeah, lithium
Like
phosphate.
LiFo 4.
I don't know too much about that. I do that the best battery that I know of is just the lithium ion batteries.
Yeah, lithium ion, lithium phosphate, LiFo 4. These are things that you don't have to manage. Like deep cycle batteries in marine in boats.
Mm-hmm.
Those are batteries that are made for that they're called deep cycle.
Mm-hmm.
But you do have to mess with it, and these are chemicals, and chemicals are dangerous.
Yeah.
Conquer for reckon, right? So what's
Yeah,
that in
yeah.
English?
Carcinogenic.
Yeah, carcinogenic. So,
like for example, cadmium batteries. Those things are terrible, but they're pretty sturdy.
but don't you feel also that in this world where we're going to have to clean up this mess, obviously you have to do something about pollution and recycling and all the consumers, everything we buy, we end up with this pile of stuff
Yeah.
that goes back into the garbage. So,
Yeah.
you know, obviously there's a lot of space for innovation in maybe not burning everything that
Yeah.
we're doing on Aruba,
You
but
can
maybe
also
we
do
could start getting
Bio, yeah.
some renewable resources. And alcohol, obviously, and I mean, think about it, in Haiti, when there's a hurricane, right?
Yeah.
They need supplies. And what if you have the knowledge to make alcohol out of toilet paper?
Yeah.
And then you might have something that's usable, and especially in a place where people are, they're cut open and whatnot. And yeah, very interesting stuff.
Yeah.
And so how long do you got to go? You got 3 years to go?
As of right now, I've got 3 years left to go. I just passed my first academic year.
Nice.
But I'm also planning to just keep on going and get my master's degree.
Right.
So that I can maybe be more specialized. Not exactly sure what I'm going to do yet, but I am.
But you got time for that.
I got time.
Yeah.
But I feel like I'm going to do something that has to do with like process engineering or something that has to do with just managing the entire plant and overseeing how the things go.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
I just got a message that there was an earthquake today at Haiti.
Oh.
Damn.
Yeah, and and we know that that's another thing, that's where one of those seismic plates.
Yeah.
And actually we actually had a warning. I think it was 2019 that because of the earthquakes were happening every day, like 60, 70 of them, and then they died down. But the situation is that they're fracking, so they're hitting those plates pretty deep. And then we get those kind of negative effects. So there we go. There's another part of technology that we have that might not be a good idea.
Haiti is on a tectonic plate itself, right?
Right. Yes. And now they're having a rough time. And I think there was also an assassination. Yeah, they just assassinated the president.
Their president.
Really?
Did you know that?
What?
We're going a bit off topic,
Yeah,
but Haiti is also one of the first regimes that there was a rise up from the slaves.
Yeah.
And to be honest, they've been taxed ever since.
Damn.
It's been a rough place. But yeah, let's go back to what we're all about, and what I thought was cool, Brandon. So
Yes.
when me and your dad are talking, and we're parents, and you're behind your computer, when I'm behind the computer, I'm probably CSSing it. I'm creating something visual. But I did attempt for a while to run servers a bit on AWS, which is Amazon Web Services. Tell us a bit about what kind of activities happening, and what are you doing? What are you doing behind the computer when you're helping out in the company, and you're working in your team? And tell us a bit more about borderless working. Are you guys next door neighbors? Do you have an office? What's going on?
Yeah. So to start where from the get go, my main points where I help out with is I help out with troubleshooting and setting up game servers. Right now we're focused primarily on Minecraft,
Right.
but we cater especially to our clients that have their own entire servers to themselves. So I'm talking an entire CPU just dedicated to themselves.
So a dedicated server, it's hardware,
The hardware is there. So
right? Not virtual.
Yeah, we've set up Arc servers. We've set up the Forest. I've troubleshooted all of those games, all of the games that you could think of that are open world AAA games that a lot of people still play today.
Open world. So is you have to manage traffic a bit, bandwidth, computing power, memory.
Like what I specifically do, that's part of it. So managing the actual incoming traffic, we do through all of our software, no matter what. What I do, and what my first point of contact is I can report and let managing directors know about potential attacks on certain machines as they come in.
Right.
So I could be on call, and I could be monitoring the services, and I get an alert inside that says that this specific machine is getting over 500 megabits of data per minute or per second, and I go and check it out and I see the net incoming traffic, and I see that it's over it's over a gigabit.
Wow,
Over
that's
five,
DDoS.
over 5 gigabits, and then
Wow.
you know the first person I call is my boss and say, you know what, boss, this machine's getting hit right now. Can we do anything about it, or are we gonna contact the data center, or are we gonna filter the traffic, or you know, it's my job is to be the first point of contact and be the person that kind of it controls the situation while it gets escalated to those guys above my pay grade.
So,
yeah?
so you're the guy who finds and tries to prevent DDoS attacks, for example.
Yeah.
I don't prevent, I report.
Report. Oh.
So
oh.
I am the guy that lets everybody know about what everything is happening, and I do troubleshooting on game servers that clients have issues with privacy.
So we probably have listeners who don't know what a DDoS attack is or any type of form of how we can attack a server. Can you explain how that works?
Basically, the way DDoS attacks work, or at least the way we get them, are usually layer 7 traffic, and we get flooded. We get flooded most of the time with traffic like that, just hitting our machines mostly all the time. Or if it's someone that doesn't have that much firepower, it's usually isolated to small increments of time while they can. Because of course our machines have their own DDoS mitigation, which will see the incoming attack and will bounce it back.
Right.
Or we can, for example, if we can see and identify which IP address is hitting us, or if it's coming from a centralized IP address, we can null route it and basically make it die on contact.
So you've mentioned that these attacks basically just increase traffic by a huge load, right?
Yes.
But most people would imagine that a lot of traffic is a good thing. How does it negatively impact you?
A lot of traffic, and especially when it comes to DDoS, it's a lot of traffic in a short period of time. And high traffic can be controlled by having it regulated over a spread amount of time. And no matter how you look at it, the singular servers, singular machines, will never get hit with that much traffic at one time. We might filter a good chunk of traffic, like way more than these machines can handle. But the idea is that these machines need to be able to handle that kind of traffic coming in, one way or the other.
Okay. But how does it affect the players of these servers?
Basically, the
How
way
would you see it as a player when the server is getting attacked?
Well, that's exactly what they don't want. You understand? So
True.
So
Yeah.
that's why all this work is done. So the user experience comes first.
Yeah, the user, of course, and you know, the way a player would experience a big DDoS attack that would saturate a switch or an uplink, it would literally just look like your ping would be skyrocketing.
Right.
would,
So,
yeah.
but the Minecraft, hopefully performance-wise, nothing comes down, right?
Frames
No,
an hour.
you'll just experience
Lag.
insane connectivity issues to the machine, or
Exactly.
up to the point where the machine is unreachable.
Wow.
Right.
It
Right.
and given enough firepower and given enough time, you can render a machine useless with flooding it with that much traffic.
Yeah.
Well, that's one of the most common ways of hacking. It's just
Hacking.
Yeah. Well, at least obstructing service, right? So
Obstructing
that's-
services.
Yeah, that's, I mean, you could
yeah.
do that with a bus. You don't want people to get in the bus. Just fill the bus with your people.
Yeah.
You know, that's a
Yeah.
very
That's literally
simple.
how it works,
that- yeah. But if somebody wants to learn more about being part of that kind of space, right? So that kind of I want to have a job in the gaming industry, right? And obviously in the gaming industry, it's a little bit like movie making. In the end, there's lots of specializations, right? So for a guy like me, I would be into designing graphic user interfaces, or even onboarding clients and explaining to them the process, because I know enough of it, but I don't know the details. But people like you, which are right now, if you put a big umbrella over it, server administrator,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But you're very specific right now. And your company focuses on game servers for certain gaming communities, right,
Yeah.
or certain gaming companies.
Yeah.
What do you need to do to get to your kind of job?
I think one thing is definitely for sure is that COVID has brought people the ability to kind of make themselves dangerous in sitting on their own chair. There's enough. I know enough people. We even have a software developer on our team
Right.
that is a self-taught engineer that works for one of the most biggest open source panel hosting softwares right now called
Wow.
Pterodactyl.
Right, Pterodactyl.
Software.
Yeah.
And these guys, this guy is just, he knows everything that there is to know because he taught it all to himself in the comfort of his own room.
Wow.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. There's a lot of time, and I'm starting to feel that if you approach the computer as an engineer or somebody who's interested in creating things on it, you can get pretty far. You don't have to go to a school.
No.
But it's more about ability, right?
It's about in COVID times, which is something that isn't going to be done for now. You just need to be able to make yourself. You need to be able to spend your time learning new skills, and there's enough places to get.
I think that's great advice. Yeah.
You need to just don't spend your time watching TV or watching Netflix or
Yeah.
I feel as much as those are relaxing times, if you have too much time on your hands, my biggest advice is go read about softwares that are coming out now. Teach yourself how to code in Discord, because Discord, especially, has a massive community of bot developers. That make their own bots that do amazing things, man.
Yeah, I think that's great advice, and it's amazing to hear it to come from people of your age, which we consider younger. I went on Discord, and what I thought was amazing, because I was going to play poker. I was going to play poker on this community poker developed by one person, and people come together to play it, and they might be doing things on the side with some crypto or whatever. But it was amazing that everything is bot led.
Yeah.
And I actually in blockchain, we have something called the Alti wallet, which is very similar to how Discord works. Discord is very advanced. I mean, if you get the right team, they can create full-blown experiences
within the server.
the server, right? So I went through that, where the bot really talks to me. But I have that same bot feature on the Cardano forum. They also have a bot. So I'm just seeing that if you mentioned Discord, if you learn how to do that and you know the framework, you could probably do it again in another platform, as long as the programming language is a bit similar, right? Is there any program language you can recommend? Would it be Python?
I have friends. I have in real life friends that are now studying at TU Delft, that are making themselves dangerous in Python.
Yeah.
I think Python is definitely a good way to start, but there's other places like Microsoft Visual Studio.
Visual Basic, Visual Studio, right?
Those places are great ways to start. I dabbled just a bit in Eclipse in the Eclipse IDE.
Okay.
So I didn't go too much into it because my experience, my skill set lies more in system management.
Absolutely.
So I enjoy more creating things from existing systems rather than creating the program myself. But I've used it in ways that have helped me as a creator to kind of do the things I want to get done, even if I can't or do not have the financial capacity to get somebody else to do it for me.
But I think it's interesting because from Tech Impact, we're going to start with workshops and even some clubs, right? So we're working on something big. It's coming, and what we're doing today is also trying to give people some ideas, right? So I think it's a great point. We can segregate things into software, right? That has certain it has to do something for us. It has to create an experience or create a utility, right? So you've got spreadsheet software, open source Word that's available now in the Linux ecosystem. But then you have server administrators, and that on its own is enormous. I actually built a website a while back called eVelocity, where we were going to combine software with a payment gateway specific for the Aruban market. We thought it was going to be something pretty cool, but I challenged myself, and I'm like, oh, it's COVID anyway. Let's get an AWS account, and I actually, I installed my first Windows NT server, which is a virtual server, right? And actually, if you go through the AWS products and solution, it's crazy. It's crazy because you can go from running a website for a company, right, which is sort of a webmaster, right?
Web development.
Web development, webmaster. Then he's doing both. He's probably monitoring everything from the back end, right? Which is a little bit like server maintenance. But then you got all these new things coming out, like they have AI, right? They've got blockchain. They've got building blocks that you could learn and get certified in, and that's what I want to talk about. You're mastering certain platforms that you can that have utility, and the best way to do. I'm going to go even further. Just start approaching Minecraft. If you've got kids, like so, anybody here, all our listeners that are parents, Minecraft's actually a pretty cool thing.
Yes, and a great thing about Minecraft is that you can access it on pretty much any platform.
Yeah.
If you have access to the internet, you have access to Minecraft for the most part, pretty much.
Yeah, it's free. On the Raspberry Pi, there's a free version, and let the promote. So for all parents, just promote more creativity.
Yes.
Approach things creatively, like learning how to play the guitar. I think on Aruba, there's a culture now, and I thought that was great advice from you, that now we're consuming entertainment through our devices.
Yes.
And some of us are now trying to master these devices. I remember my first Mac, I wanted to master it. I wanted to understand everything about it. And I did my own installments and SCSI, and I managed my own network because Apple was kind of easy, and Windows was more technical, Yeah. And another thing, going forward through more jobs, if I think about engineering in general, I think this is a great place to go. So chemical engineering, we have to engineer solutions.
Yeah.
The past solutions are now dead. We got new sets of problems, and I feel that technology also they're becoming like building blocks, right? So Arduino, Raspberry Pi. Maybe in the future, we're going to have to work in more teams where we can create our own hardware with the right devices. Like we can create a weather what do you call that? A weather tower with a Raspberry Pi.
Yeah.
Because all you have to do is get the components and the manuals online, and then you need somebody that understands how a computer works, and then through the what's it called again? Input-output module, right? It's got an I/O. Don't worry, it's like pins. So it's got pins where it can interact with external stuff.
Hardware.
So we're gonna work forward, and my question. So how long are you staying for?
I'm here until tomorrow.
Oh yeah, this was your last lap.
Yeah.
Yeah. So and going back to Yuri, can you tell us a little, thank you for the great information. I actually want you to come back, but we're gonna try to do something virtual since we're here at Tech Impact. We're gonna be probably the first going to do a call-in, or have we done already a call-in, producer? Any hand gestures? Yeah, we're gonna be doing a call-in. Yuri. Your future job.
My future job.
What does that potentially look like? I know you haven't decided yet, but you said something about
process engineer. So,
yeah.
So I would basically be overlooking, depending on where I get placed. If I get placed at a refinery or near to other type of factory, maybe one that produces chips or one that produces alcohol, who knows? Right. I will have the job of overseeing the machinery, the systems.
And would you have to kind of like be an architect of how it works together? So a systems architect, maybe?
You like right now, because I'm in like first year, you get your basic all-around courses. That have to do with biology, chemistry, other systems, statistics, all that. But there's also one that's more specific to what I want to do in the future. Yeah. Which is called I forgot what it was in English.
Just say it in Dutch.
Technology, so technology, basically. It's a course called technology.
What do you learn? You learn about technology in the technology course, yeah?
It's okay.
It's a course called technology, and it teaches you how to build a build the plant, basically. So you get to learn the tools on how to structure, how to build the plants. You have to do a lot of calculations to know, oh, this tube goes there, that tube goes there. Make sure you don't mix too many things so that it blows up.
Sounds about right. Sounds like a high responsibility job, high risk job.
Yeah, but
I mean,
I think it's fun.
Of course, and of course you're gonna have to be environmentally friendly.
For sure.
Oh, something's happening with my audio, people. 1 second. What is that?
No clue. The ghost of the laptop.
Oh, yeah.
Bluetooth.
Oh, there you go. Okay, good. Yeah, and I'm sure that the future is going to be, in a lot more environmentally, not environmentally friendly. There's going to be mandates you have to abide by, right?
Yeah,
So
whenever I drive around Aruba, I feel sometimes a bit saddened at how much trash we actually do see. When you stop to think and stop to look around, Aruba is a very beautiful place. There are a lot of beautiful places you can go to, but if you stop and really look, you will find bits and pieces.
Absolutely.
And it's like that for everywhere that I've been. Like if you really stop and look, there's trash everywhere. Like for Holland, for example, any corner you look at, there's like a cigarette butt or 20 down there on the ground, which is sad.
It is sad. It does go in the water in the end.
There's so many ways you can implement technology into these products so that I'm not saying go out and throw trash on the street, of course, but I'm saying like if you can integrate technology into these products so that like if it does end up being on the ground somewhere, it won't be as harmful of an impact. You could also try to make better systems. Like for example in Holland, what I've noticed is that it's a lot more structured when it comes to recycling.
Yes.
Like for
glass, colored, non-colored, right?
Especially for where I live in somewhere in Enschede.
Yeah.
Everything's separated. So you have like plastic, glass, paper, packaging, things like that. It all gets put into their own little containers. They even have like one for compost, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, I love the compost one.
Yeah. Holland, I feel like Holland is one of the really strong leaders in producing and stepping forward with different technologies, and also specifically like being environmentally conscious. Like for example, chocolate. They have a chocolate company where they work directly with the chocolatiers, like the chocolate farmers.
Right.
Cool. But yeah, they directly with the chocolate farmers.
Yeah.
So they cut out the middleman so that the people who produce the chocolate get a better wage and less strain, I'm guessing. They also do a lot of things that are involved with agriculture.
But they've done lots of innovations with that.
Sure.
I mean, I actually know somebody back in my cannabis activism days.
Yeah.
That certain companies in Holland that started with growing inside. They're the masters at it. They actually copied pasted the technology, and then they entered the medical cannabis field, and now they've got different offices all over the world.
Wow.
And they're providing multi-million euro environmental systems for 6-acre inside growing, because medical cannabis, you have to have a controlled environment, right? So in chemistry, if you want to have a sound experiment, that's one of the biggest issues is that you got to have a place where no contamination is possible, right? Yeah, and going back to the trash issue, I think part of the problem is not only we have to separate the trash, but I think we also have to move our consumer habits through education. So for example, for a long time I tried to bring my own coffee container to the shop and just put it in my container, so I don't have another straw to throw away, And even when we go to, if we on Aruba go into the supermarket, and we all have to, that's how we do it. 20% of the weight is trash.
Yeah.
Every time we go on, yeah, well, you know, we change the law for
Plastic or
the,
paper bags or
but
packaging,
we do
all
have to
trash.
take responsibility as citizens of the earth and start saying, well, maybe we should force these guys to give us, you know, just, I'll buy the vegetables and you can do that now, straight up, and then put it in your own bag. But what about the rest? What about coffee? Shouldn't we maybe buy it in grams from now on? And just, you know, bring your containers and like back in the cowboy movies, you would see that they would go to a supply store
Yeah.
and get it that way, you know. And we have to clean up more than just trash, right? We have to clean up 60 years of trash as well,
Yeah.
you know. So can we create like, sort of drone little robots, drone boats?
They have.
They have, right?
I think, again, I'm not 100% sure in this, but I feel like there was something developed in Holland, where they made this sort of raft boat thing, where it has a massive wingspan.
Yeah.
And they have like nets at the bottom, and they just go around the top of like the ocean layer and just like skim through all the trash and detritus and all the garbage there, and just brings that back, and they use that for recycling or something, or they do something else with it. But yeah, just it's really sad when you look at
Yeah. I think you know, with COVID, and there's some realities we all have to start dealing with, you know, and it's even argued that more COVID could be the result of you know, us changing the environment so aggressively, having such an impact. I mean, humans. We have dominion over this planet. We just simply do. You know, we don't.
I feel like COVID is terrible, but it also made us really try to reflect on what's going on.
I mean,
Yeah.
when you're forced to stay inside of your house and you can't really interact with other people very often, then most people
Yeah.
are going to be forced to reflect on themselves and their impact on the world. Yeah.
Yeah, but I think we all did. I mean, great advice. I actually, you know, I did some courses and I learned a little bit more about sociology. I worked at the ministry, so I being more aware of what's going on, and also being more aware of, hey, I can't worry about everything. Got to worry about my community, right?
Yeah.
And that's what I like about what you're doing. And we're sitting here, come from our own community.
Yeah.
Judo used to tie us, and now it's you know, and the relationships are strong. And I do feel that the future of the internet is community driven instead of influencer driven, if you really
Yes.
want to make a difference.
Yeah.
So a lot of people want to become famous. Hey, I want to be an influencer, TikToker.
Yeah.
And I'm saying, yeah, you know, you could, but you know, you might have a lot more impact if you have a great server and with 300 people in there, and you're spending quality time and making a difference. And at least you're providing a great experience to a gamer. You know?
Because we don't only play Minecraft in the Discord server. We play any kind of community game you could think of. We can play a game of Among Us together,
Wow.
or we can play a game of Civilization 6.
Do you play League of
Cool.
Legends?
I've played League of Legends.
I'm sorry.
With a group of Australians before. So,
Cool.
Yeah.
You know, you guys have previously mentioned the fact that within COVID times, people have managed to teach themselves things, right?
Yeah.
They have been able to use the internet as a tool to be able to teach them information and skills, right?
Right.
But a problem with that is that while we know many people and we ourselves have probably done some of it, it's not that easy. The internet is literally every human knowledge that we have been able to digitize in a single area.
Yeah.
Right.
And then navigating through that can be very overwhelming.
True.
And the problem is a lot of people start with, I want to learn something.
Right.
But they have no idea where to start. They
What are you
have
gonna learn?
Or like what?
I have some answers for that.
I have some answers for
So
that.
please for the listeners who want to learn something or like want to learn skills, what would be some skills to or some information or tips that you would give to help them navigate through everything?
Go ahead, Brandon.
I'm gonna go first and then let Bruce say.
No. I thought today's, you know, let's make use of your presence here and
Yes,
everybody
yes.
here. You know.
I think, and I've learned this over the past, because before I was doing organizational science and government management, I was doing a study that was kind of based in cybersecurity as well.
Mhm.
Right.
But I didn't have the passion for it. I didn't
Right.
have the I didn't have the willingness to push myself in that specific discipline.
Mm-hmm.
So
Exactly.
my advice to people would be focus on things you love. Focus on things that you've known and you've used, you've spent time with, and just take the time to learn more about it. The Discord servers that you spend time hanging out with your friends in, learn how to make one truly professionally, and teach yourself how to code in the Discord bot. I have 5 people that I can definitely call up right now, and they can do paid Discord work for me.
Yeah. No, absolutely. They can do setups.
They can do. They take commissions. I have my own bot developer that I can tell him what I need, and he'll get it done for me in the next day or 2.
Yeah.
So just take the time to do something you truly enjoy, because if you do things you enjoy, you take the time to develop your passion, you'll never work a day in your life. You'll never work a day in your life.
Well, you're working, but you're enjoying your work. So yeah, it's not like having a bad job, like a coal miner or something.
Yeah, you'll never feel miserable doing what
Exactly.
you're doing.
Yeah.
Because you'll always come and sit down on your chair with a new challenge to face.
Yeah, I agree, and I'm going to add a little thing. To be autodidact, a couple of years ago, it was a bit easier, I guess, because there weren't a lot of content. So if you would say, hey, I want to learn the guitar, and then you went on YouTube like 10 years ago, there would be like these 3 or 4 guys that are doing it just to become a YouTuber, whatever that means, to monetize their channels. I think now it's very competitive, right? So you'll find a guy and you'll get pushed an ad, right? So you'll have both. But I believe if you want to learn something, you're going to have to invest. Right? So, like for me, I'm like, I want to learn the Raspberry Pi. Well, I could kind of try and create a playlist of, but I want something more structured. I want somebody that put in time to put a difficulty, so that's why I do believe if you, Raspberry Tips, for example, has a great book, and then it was $20. And I'm willing to pay $20 for something that is really convenient for me, because I can focus on spending the time into it. I put 14, 15 hours and actually learn something, right? So, and there was websites for that as well, like Coursera. Like, go to those websites that have subscription level access, and just go in there and maybe even make it a habit.
Skillshare.
Yeah, Skillshare. Make it a habit. I mean, I'm trying all the time. I'm trying all the time to learn something new, but you're right. Sometimes it's not manageable. So somebody once told me, Bruce, but couldn't you really learn programming? I'm like, yeah, I could. But by the time that I'm knowledgeable in it and I can really use it as a job, it's going to be 10 years from now. I'll be dead by then or something, So the passion will drive the discipline to learn. So if you love to play guitar, that doesn't mean you're going to all of a sudden master it. You actually have to put in the kilometers. And we know this from judo. Judo's not about, it is a bit about talent, but the hardest worker usually wins. And do you guys know Gordon Ryan, by the way? The number 1 no-gi grappler in the world. He comes from Gracie, and he's been beating people up. He's on a whole nother level. But then you go find out why. He doesn't take breaks. He trains every day, 7 days a week, for 7 to 8 hours.
Crazy.
Does supplemental training after, and he's just simply saying, hey, I just work harder than everybody else. And usually that is the way to go, and even in technology, anybody that's made a difference, that's made something cool, puts a lot of work in. Look at Minecraft, or look at WordPress, which is an open source content management system, and Bitcoin.
Yeah,
right? Look at the ripple effect of some dude that said, hey, you know what, we need to come up with something new, because it was a protest creation. Bitcoin is a protest. It's like, enough with the banks. Sorry, banks.
It's done with the status quo of things, and people are starting to realize that they have to challenge the status quo to be able to make a difference within the lives we live in now, because it's like you said, things like Bitcoin were made in protest to government intervention within transactions.
Bank, powerful bank, yeah, absolutely.
Powerful banks, and just they wanted to cut out the middleman.
Yes,
they wanted to cut out the middleman, and it was just people have to learn that obsession or the willingness to get yourself out there and to continue is what is going to ultimately have you be the most invaluable member of your team.
Right.
You need a work ethic above all else will always bring you forward, no matter how much talent you have. Because talent brings you to a certain degree, but talent is nothing without work ethic.
Absolutely, buddy. And Yuri, let's finish this thing off into obviously, no matter what happens, we're always gonna need tools. Let me see if my music works. Yeah, because I feel like our technological ambient sound helps our conversation. It just went dead just now. It got really serious. Yeah, but if you think about it, we're using tools all the time nowadays. We're really advanced monkeys, aren't we?
Yeah.
Instead of using a hammer, we're now using software.
So we've got right now we're mixing audio in between each other. We have control, right? And like right now for people like you and me, my computer is basically my sword. That's my hammer. In chemical engineering, right?
Yeah.
You also have like a bag of peripherals to help you out in your.
Actually.
Or is it all up here?
For the most part, yeah. For the most part, in chemical, at least how I'm studying, it's just your book and pen. Because most of the work
is theoretical.
Not theoretical, but a lot of it is research.
You okay?
I'm good.
A lot of the work in chemical engineering is research. Most of my project, most of my tests, they just involve research work, and I think that is, in general, just when it comes to most things, that is the most powerful tool, your mind.
Right.
Right. But yeah, if I have to go to a plant, I just have to bring all the knowledge that I learned at school. Not that I have like a tool per se specifically. I'm like, you do have tools to work with in chemical engineering. Like, you have software on your laptop, or your phone.
That can emulate things, maybe.
You can emulate molecular models. You can also make predictions. When it comes to process engineering, I'm pretty sure you're also gonna have to be involved with a lot of statistics.
Right.
So we have this one program that we use right now. It's called the MOVI. It's kind of like it's like Excel sheets but on steroids.
No. Right.
Like, you can plug a lot of stuff into it. You have a lot of freedom to plug in as many formulas as you can into it, which is really fun. But most of the work comes from research and taking that knowledge that you learned from that research and implementing it into what you're doing. Because chemical engineering, it's like process engineer. It sounds like it's specific, but it's really not. It's just that I get picked up and I get dropped into some random plant, some random work environment. Of course, I get to choose, but like sometimes not. I just get dropped somewhere and it's like, okay, go learn that. I was like, cool. So you have to be a bit malleable and ready to learn. You have to be ready to learn and ready to accept that. Yeah, just accept the learning, basically. Just accept the learning.
What I'm thinking is, you see, because I think also for you, if you think about it, chemicals is also data sets in the end,
Yeah.
And in the end, there's going to be a certain amount of something, but another certain amount of something, and then you're going to try and predict. Because in any plant, really, there's a processes that's happening, and you have to mitigate risk and mitigate.
Oh yeah. There's
and it has to work, and it has to work for a long time, and you're going to have process checks.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
So there's gonna be valves of
Yeah, everything is structured. Everything has a. You also need contingency plans just in case if something goes wrong. And
Right.
you need contingency plans for those contingency plans if something goes wrong with the thing that, yeah, and
yeah.
a lot of steps, a lot of things you have to think about. But I really do like the process of problem solving.
You should go to
And I feel
web.
like all of us do. Huh?
You should go to web.
Web.
Yeah, figure out why we lose electricity for like a week.
No, there's nothing to figure out. I can tell you.
Yeah,
That's too much to handle.
That's the thing. I just said, I can get dropped into web, but I can also get dropped into Balashi because they also work with big
Yeah,
machines
absolutely.
and
Yeah.
they
Absolutely.
go through a lot of like liquids and other mixtures and monsters and things like that. Monsters. Monster in Dutch is
a sample.
Is sample.
Yeah, it's okay.
Or like web, where I have to work with things that have to do with reverse osmosis. We also got the opportunity to work with different filtering systems, like a narrow coffee filter, reverse osmosis, which is really cool, and also a membrane filter,
Right.
which is a bit comparable to reverse osmosis.
Yeah, because a membrane filter, means it can filter up to the cellular level, right?
Yes, there are
Not atomic.
No, there are certain molecules that it can filter, like for
Like
example,
complex ones.
When it comes to membrane filter, all it is just a piece of paper or a piece of material
Membrane.
with membrane,
Yeah.
with a couple holes in it, and depending on how big the hole is, that's what it's gonna let through.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So I work with a membrane filter that can pass. They can let a little bit of water pass through, but not other like types of salts and like basic salts like.
Cool.
Yeah. Like,
Cool.
but that's how web works. Like,
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I think web used to distill water, which burned a lot of energy because it takes a lot, like more energy than someone might imagine to cook up some water. Now they just do reverse osmosis, which strips all the minerals, everything, out of the salt water. They send that fresh water through, like I don't know what it is, like a bunch of minerals, so that you don't die when you drink it.
What a way to put it, huh?
I'm not saying you're gonna die if you drink the water. I'm just saying that if you drink pure water, your
Distilled
cells,
water.
Yeah, your distilled water, your cells are gonna blow up.
Battery water.
Yeah.
Well, we all knew that. I mean, at Havo Colegio,
Yeah.
that's one of the first things you learn, that you can't drink this water.
Yeah.
And you get that warning. And I actually saw a survival trick that this one guy did, where he was distilling the water, right? Then when there's energy, so he puts wood under it, and it gets distilled. And then he said, "Well, I have a simple trick. What I do is I put a little salt water in it."
Yeah.
So he's got his water, and then he'll take just enough to get minerals and stuff in there, and the salt content is good enough that it doesn't, dehydrate you, kind of thing. So, it's simple solutions to a not so simple problem.
On-site problem solving skills.
And come on, we have a water problem right now. There's, going
Which
back
one?
going back to the climate crisis, because now these cycles, right? So
Yeah.
usually mountainous areas create rivers, and then that cycle is provides for whatever ecosystem. And we've got some artificially made cities all over the world that they just pump a lot of water to, like Nevada, and right now they have a water problem, right? It's a huge one. And this is something that us creative engineers, it's pretty hard to solve, because it's built on a system that
That's not sustainable.
it's not sustainable, because the water comes from a certain area, and all other water is way too far away. And and what kind of technology could we use
You can try. Maybe you can try to manipulate the sky. Maybe.
Well, there you go. There you go. Well, yeah, exactly. So,
I-
and that's beyond our capability at the moment. Who knows? Maybe one day.
I think maybe the membrane filter. Use the sewage and use the shitload of membrane filters.
People
to
actually does get done. Certain places they actually. I mean, but like what happens with like sewage is, they take it, they it goes through a plant,
Yeah.
and not an actual plant. But
Yeah.
Goes to some kind of.
Yeah. So it
Process.
Yeah, the process they throw in different types of bacteria and other organisms that consume the matter, and then that wastewater, either like that wastewater is now relatively clean, so that goes to another process and that gets either shot back somewhere.
Then it becomes gray waters. You got black water,
Yeah,
and then
yeah.
they coin it gray water.
Yeah, yeah.
Right.
And then, or if water is scarce, you can take that water and you can refine it to become drinking water.
Right. I think the most advanced filter on the planet is a coconut tree.
It makes juice. Yeah. It makes
You're not
Hey.
Wrong.
Hey guys, yeah. So we've passed an hour, so we're gonna
Oh,
close
wow.
down. So I want to thank you guys for coming over and
to
just
be
join
here.
our show a little bit. And we want to do this a lot more often. And Brandon, any final things you want to tell our community?
No, it's
I think you did it already. You gave some great advice.
Yeah.
It's been-
Any
it's
final
been-
statement?
It's been fun to be here. I enjoyed it a lot, catching up with the boys.
Yeah, man.
boys.
Me too.
Giving a bit of an insight about what I do nowadays.
Yeah, man.
Thanks
Yeah.
for coming.
Thanks for coming, man. We were so interested, and hopefully we're gonna hear some more, right? Because we got a lot more to talk about. But we'll see you back here, right? I mean,
I'll be back.
what's up with now that we've got these COVID numbers? What's going on with your trip? That's on. You're on for tomorrow.
Yeah.
You're on.
No matter what, I'll be on for tomorrow. I'll see if I come maybe in the holiday vacation. But it depends. It all depends if COVID allows it, and not
True.
only that, if the prices allow it.
Oh.
Yeah. Absolutely. I'm gonna pre-do something. Producer, can you give me the list that I have to go through? Because my computer just died and I'm on my phone. Okay, yeah, gotcha.
Thumbs up, yeah.
Yuri, what's looking up for you, man? Any final statements and anything you want to say to the community?
Well, thank all of you for having me here. It's really cool. This is an
Yeah, what do you think? What do you think about this? Our little Soppy Mix studio.
Soppy Mix is beautiful, man.
It's
I love
beautiful.
that they have this type of vibe.
Yeah.
If there's anything that I would say, if you see a little bit of trash, pick it up.
I think that's great advice.
Kleine moeite.
Kleine moeite.
A little bit
Put it in your
helps.
pickup. They'll pick it up. They'll bring it on that heap.
Yeah.
And keep the beaches clean.
Keep the beaches clean. Because Aruba is small and we don't have that many sources of income.
Exactly.
What we do have, we have to try to preserve.
I think that's great advice. Jean-Luc, any final statements? Let's give our thanks to our sponsors, Swing Masters, for making these interesting blogs and vlogs possible. We've got, producer, our screen is
Subway.
yeah, sorry.
Our
Yeah, and
other
our sponsor,
sponsors.
Subway, eat fresh. Go to Subway. There's one close by to the studio. Is there any other sponsor I have to think about? Well, we've got our sponsors coming up, more coming up later on. And Jean-Luc, any final statement for this show?
Yes. It seems that most of us can agree that most future jobs are within sustainability and creating sustainable solutions or creating sustainable variations of current jobs.
Right.
Definitely in the digital world, data analysis, server management, content creation, may it be just normal art, may it be videos or anything. And I would highly advise to buy a reusable cup so you can take it with you and just ask to use that
Smart.
instead of using plastic.
Yeah, yes. That's a great paradigm shift, the request, where we start owning our own trash a little bit and try to mitigate it. What we'll do is we'll put a little list of job descriptions, because I kind of checked it out already, but we want to get your guys' input and get a chance to talk to you. But we'll add a list of jobs that are possible and maybe even some links where you can get some training. But absolutely dive deep, find out. If you want to become a photographer, you can. If you want to become a software developer, you can. If you want to become a system administrator, you just like being behind the computer, or on Discord, bot programmer. What is it called?
Bot development.
Bot development. There you go. So yeah, and it's about creating a community, you know. And yeah, so with that, let's give our goodbyes. And Jeff, you can log us out.
Have a nice weekend.
Have a nice weekend.
Have a nice weekend.